talk to you sometime. I love you. Bye.
I'm sorry, but I can't do this anymore. We're just not meant for each other, but I will always cherish our friendship. Goodbye.
I love that this piece could center on the idea of having someone there to sit and talk and give space, and they don't even have to physically be there. I thought it was really interesting to have all of the dialogue being to another voice, disembodied voice. And that's all you really need to have that comfort, even in some of the most dramatic, tumultuous moments. And I thought that the pacing and the cuts between them was really effective as well. And we really got that character's inner turmoil from the different angles in the room, the confinements of the room, and just his movements and pacing through the space. I thought really worked in terms of the movement of the piece as well.
I thought the writing of the piece was brilliant. It taps into the reality of life and how bad situations sometimes seem to come all at once. The film deals with the issue of depression in a very sensitive manner, too, and suggests the vital need for someone else to listen when one is down. The actor playing Joel was fabulous, so subtle. The soft, moving soundtrack below really cradled the action, too.
Right from the start, we get the history through these various conversations, and these are several relationships that he's having in his life that are not feeling fulfilling. And then I get the sense a little later on that, oh, this is about all the hard conversations that we have in life and what happens on the other side of these conversations. A lot of times we're having these conversations with people over the phone and we're not really seeing what's happening on the other end. I thought the text on the screen was such a great touch. It just added such an impact to certain statements. It made them really more poignant. And I love how in the end he had someone he could talk to unload all those feelings, because it left me feeling like, oh, is he going to be okay? Because you are seeing him going through this. And you get the sense that all these conversations are happening back to back to back, which in fact they may not be. They may just be a culmination of conversations that he's had over a period of time. But getting to the sense of, after having all those hard conversations, having someone that he could just unload and just breathe with, it was a wonderful way to kind of wrap it all up.
I'm going to use the wording that my therapist used a lot in therapy, but basically what this short is trying to get across is the aspect of disappointments in your life. Now, disappointment is definitely not the word to use to describe everything that happened in this movie, because, you know, it's very big, very traumatic. But to generalize it, they're disappointments. They're things that cause you upset. They are things that are out of your control. They are things that, while you can try, like the main character in this story did, you can try, 9 times out of 10, these are things that are set in stone, things that you don't really have control over. Now, the reason I bring up the disappointments is because that's where the next question comes with, what do you do about these disappointments? How do you handle these disappointments? Like we saw before, you can try to tackle them, but what happens when there is no resolution? And sometimes, like this film showed, the best answer is to try to heal from it, try to grieve from it. Talking to someone, don't bottle it up. If you're in a rough place, letting someone know how you're doing is always a good option, because 9 times out of 10, when you have people who do care about you, they are willing to hear you out and let you vent your troubles. And 9 times out of 10, you'll find yourself feeling so much better just letting those feelings out, those negative feelings that you have like caged inside you. So I definitely love that message of, you know, sometimes there is no resolution, but that's okay. What matters is getting through those feelings.
Well, I thought this was a really thoughtful piece. a really well laid out story for a short film. I really related to the frustration that Joel, the main character, felt in his relationships with family, where communication is so often by the cell phone. And family members will have to leave bad news or excuses on voicemails. And as the receiver, not being able to have your 2 cents in those conversations can be really disappointing, but I understand that, and that's how it has to be sometimes. I really felt for the character. His expression was very real, and his sadness, it drew you in. He seemed to be almost overcome with emotion. And then all of a sudden, he makes the decision to pick up the cell phone and make it meaningful for him, and calls a friend who can listen and help him through his troubles.
It was about self-care and reaching out when you need to talk to someone. I feel like it's a feeling of this person feeling not important to anyone, rejected, abandoned, sort of just here, but nobody really has time for me. I must not be important. And I liked that there was a lot left to our sort of defining what's going on. The shots were very simple, but really well done. The acting was good and subtle. And I liked the message. To me, it was about talking to someone. And when somebody says, hey, how you doing? Do you need anything? To be honest about how you feel and just talk to somebody. So I liked this a lot. I liked the whole tone of it and the music and the performance, the editing and acting.
I liked how they implemented voicemail words or highlighted the sort of words. As it shows that these are the most sort of important words with text on screen. I think that was a powerful technique as it allows us to hear and hit on what kind of the character is feeling and what's important to the character. I liked how at the end that the character had someone to talk to and eventually express themselves. Yeah, I think that was very creative.